All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Butcher of Wall Street here. Huge case against Donald Trump right now by the Banana Republic. Basically, this is a big deal for macroeconomics and geopolitics and the financial sector. So naturally, we're covering it here on this channel. But of course, the kangaroo court that is Judge Merchan's court, as we all knew, they convicted Trump of basically something that has already exceeded the statute of limitations. Therefore, there had to be a significant change in interpretation of the law, as well as the consideration of unanimous. So instead of needing unanimous consent from the 12 jurors, they were split into 3 different groups, and they only needed consent from 4, 4, and 4 jurors separately and individually. We have found out just moments ago that Trump was found guilty by these guys of falsifying business records, which is, if it was true, and let's say it is, just for the sake of argument, that is a misdemeanor. That is not a felony, not even in the state of New York. And the only way that they can claim that it's a felony is if there was another crime committed on top of that, which, as we know, by the bank that went ahead and told us that they were very happy that Trump repaid all of the loans that he took out and paid them off with interest. They were very happy and wanted to do more business with him. They came to the conclusion that they didn't feel that they were wronged in any way. So there was no victim, there was no crime. Even if it was illegal to falsify these business records, it was done by basically an accountant. Donald Trump did not fill out those records himself. He had an accountant that filled all of that stuff out for him. And that guy, whether knowing or unknowing to Donald Trump, lied on those. But in reality, it wasn't really a lie, because we're looking at the same people that think that Mar-a-Lago is worth $12 million. You know, hundreds of acres in Florida that are, recently have sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, is supposed to be only worth $12 million. That's an absolute travesty. It's a farce. Same thing in New York. The hotels, those buildings are worth hundreds of millions of dollars as well. So this is what they said yesterday.
He said that there is no need to agree on what has... He said that there is no need to agree on what has occurred. They can disagree on what the crime was among the 3 choices. Thus, this means that they could split 4, 4, 4, and the judge would still treat them unanimously. What does that mean?
Well, it's really outrageous, because in a normal criminal case, every statutory crime has what we call elements of the offense. Like in a bank robbery case, you have to show intent. Those are the things the jury has to agree on unanimously that they were proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Here, what we're doing is taking the element that actually makes this a felony, because remember, falsification of records is normally a misdemeanor in New York. What makes it a felony is that you're concealing or committing another crime. And here the judge is telling them they don't have to agree about what the other crime is under circumstances where that not only is what makes this a felony, what makes it a 4-year potential prison penalty rather than a year or less, but it's also what gets us into the courtroom, because if this had been a misdemeanor, the time to bring this case would have lapsed in 2019. So the only reason they're still able to bring this case is because it's a felony, allegedly, and yet now the judge is saying, you don't have to agree on what the felony is.
Absolutely hilarious. So that's the kind of shit we're dealing with now. There's absolutely no trust in the majority of Americans left within our judicial system. No trust whatsoever. Let's take a peek here and see what everybody is saying. Briefly, I don't even want to play Sky News. I'll just touch it briefly and see what it says here.
The 45th President of the United States has been found guilty on...
All right, yep, by a completely corrupt court who has received millions of dollars from the Joe Biden administration in the form of direct compensation to Lauren Merchan, who is Judge Merchan's daughter. So there's no way in the world that this could ever be considered an actual serious court case, and this will be appealed. It's going to take some time. And it's definitely, in my opinion, almost without a shadow of a doubt, 100% going to be overturned in appeals. Now let's take a look and see what everybody in the community is saying, and everybody on Twitter is saying about this kind of case. Let's check it out. Fake crime, fake case, fake judge, fake verdict. Lady Justice is burning. Cat Turret says maybe people in this country will actually wake up to how evil the Democrat Party communists are. They are hell-bent on destroying this country. My prediction is Trump will win in a Reagan-type landslide. And I do have to agree with the guy on that. People are saying, watch for Potato Joe Biden to now say, I am not debating a convicted felon. He will try to get out of the debates this way. Take a look. Steve here says, this is what they're distracting you from with the Trump verdict. Joe Biden has given permission, Joe Biden gave permission to Ukraine to use United States weapons inside of Russia. This is World War III level bullshit here. And so this breaking news says that Biden secretly gave Ukraine permission to strike inside Russia with U.S. weapons, according to Politico. That's actually interesting. I actually want to see what this says.
Weapons inside Russia. How do you feel about that?
I think that's the right decision. I think, Ukraine needs to get whatever help it can get in defending itself. And I think NATO has urged that we allow those strikes. France, Germany, Great Britain, Canada, Finland, most of our allies have urged that. I think it is important for the United States to provide a unified approach that allows the Ukrainians to strike at those targets.
I don't know where this Ukraine war goes. You always hear, Secretary, that right now Russia is back having the full advantage here.
Senior U.S. official says Biden gave Ukraine permission to strike inside Russia with U.S. weapons. That is not surprising whatsoever. I think it's pretty obvious as well that the United States helped Ukraine by destroying the Nord Stream pipelines between Russia and Germany. And how convenient now that since that has happened, the United States is the #1 exporter of liquefied natural gas in the world. And one of their top customers, of course, now is Germany and Europe because they can no longer get it from Russia. But let's see. Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 kangaroo counts of falsifying business documents in New York. Let's keep going. Tucker Carlson says, import the third world, become the third world. That's what we just saw. This won't stop Trump. He'll win the election if he's not killed first. But it does mark the end of the fairest justice system in the world. Anyone who defends this verdict is a danger to you and your way of life. Let's see what else people are saying about it on here on X, Twitter. Attorney General Ken Paxton, from the beginning of this sham trial, I stood by President Trump, and my support for him is stronger than ever. As Attorney General of Texas, I will unleash every tool at my disposal to fight this blatant corruption and political persecution spewing from New York and the Biden administration. And I have to give that a repost because Ken Paxton is the most based motherfucker in government right now, in my opinion. That's why the entire Biden administration wanted to get rid of Ken Paxton, and they absolutely failed. So he's supposed to be sentenced on July 11th after being found guilty. I don't think that this Judge Merchant has the balls to send him to jail. They'll probably put him on house arrest because if he does go to jail, I predict that there will be riots all across the country, civil war, complete destruction. But maybe that's what Joe Biden and company are going for. Maybe they want people to riot. They want places to get burned to the ground, businesses to get destroyed, so that they can implement martial law and delay the election or eliminate the election entirely, which is exactly what you've seen happen in Ukraine. In case you're unaware, that little trans guy over there in Ukraine, the actor who's pretending to be president, Zelensky, has implemented martial law, and there were no elections in Ukraine. So maybe we're trying to see something like that. I foresee a civil war, the likes of which this country has not seen in hundreds of years. President Trump says the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows.
Dean says Trump is a crook. I don't understand why people want him to be president. Think about where this country was from 2016 to 2020. Think about where it is now. You're an absolute fucking moron if you think that this country's better off now than it was when Trump was president. Honestly, if you're voting for Joe Biden, you must be one of the dumbest individuals or completely blind to the fact that the mainstream media is not the only one, is not telling you the truth. And that's understandable because a lot of people are sheep. A lot of people have their eyes closed. A lot of people only believe what they hear on Fox News or only believe what they hear on CNN or only what they see on CNBC. But the reality of the matter is if you actually did your homework and understood economics and business and the way that this country runs, monetary policy, politics, you'd understand that we were hundreds of times better off with mean tweets than we are with Pedo Pete and crackhead Hunter Biden. Disgusting. Disgusting. Let's see what else people are talking about on this right now. I'm actually really interested in seeing. Oh, wow. I can't believe. Look at this fucking dumb broad. Probably the dumbest person in Congress there next to AOC. Guilty on all counts in a state case. No matter what happens in November, he can't undo this verdict. I know how many are celebrating, and I get it, but my heart breaks for our country. How did we get it? Okay. I could not be more excited to vote for Donald Trump come November 11th. That's for damn sure. Donald Trump on Truth Social spoke out about the corrupt Judge Juan Merchan. The jury instructions given by highly conflicted Judge Juan Merchan were unfair, misleading, inaccurate, and unconstitutional. They were also very confusing, just what the judge wanted, because there was no crime. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. A kangaroo court in a banana republic, formerly known as the United States of America. And just like Kevin Sorbo, everyone else out there is still voting for Donald Trump. So this is absolutely... so far I've seen one person, and that's a Democrat, basically dementia caretaker, talking about actually supporting the verdict, and about 100 people, if not thousands already, have been discussing what an absolute sham it is. Look at the Texas GOP says, today's kangaroo court verdict shows just how far Democrats will go to destroy those they simply disagree with. As Biden continues to weaponize the justice system against his political opponents, we must draw a line in the sand. Everything they are doing to Trump, they will do to you next. November 5th is our last chance to save America. Texas grassroots are united and excited to elect President Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. We need to restore our sovereignty, close the border, secure elections, and bring back prosperity and freedom. And I could not agree more. Luke says, I don't give a fuck what your verdict is. Come this election, I'm voting for Donald Trump, the convicted felon. I agree with that entirely. Entirely. Geez. Anybody who's opposing the consolidated audit trail is a downright shill. That's for sure. Citadel is suing the Securities Exchange Commission for the CAT system because their naked shorts are getting exposed. And here we are, says Dinesh D'Souza, with an upside-down American flag. Of course. Of course. Matt Gaetz. This verdict is the corrupt result of a corrupt trial, a corrupt judge, and a corrupt DA. We will stand with President Trump now more than ever to save the country. Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, a sad day for America. The verdict against Donald Trump, marred by unclear charges and irregular jury instructions, sets a dangerous precedent. This was a political prosecution to help Joe Biden, a weaponization of our justice system that threatens the very fabric of our republic. Absolutely. Absolute truth. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Helm, how many people in prison are innocent? A lot of them. A lot of them. But not many people are destroyed by the Department of Justice. Maybe some of them are, like look at Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. Take a look at those guys. Attorney General Andrew Bailey is suing Joe Biden, and the state of Missouri is suing Joe Biden for trying to steal from all of the hardworking Americans that pay their bills in order to relieve student loans for those that have student loan debt, for 5 million Americans that have student loan debt. Not all of them even. So. And of course, this guy makes a great point. Everything we are witnessing is the result of a stolen election. Well, that's absolutely right. It's sad. It's pathetic. The fact that a lot of people still don't realize that. But the 2020 election was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life as far as being an American goes. And this is number 2. There was a coup in this country in 2020 under the guise of mail-in ballots that were never folded, mail-in ballots that were printed artificially, more voters voting than actually exist in a county or that were registered. There's a million things and again, the same corrupt judges like Merchan that gained their nomination from the Biden administration are the same corrupt judges that turned down the election review cases. Because why would they want the election to not be certified if the people that put them in power and are keeping them in power were the same ones that helped steal that election? So I think it's time to donate to the Trump party, to go out there and vote, and to man the ballot boxes, to physically stand in front of and guard the mail-in ballot boxes, the postal service boxes, and we need more poll workers to actually oversee what is going on in this country when these votes are being counted. Because we saw them rush people out of the door due to a burst water pipe, yet multiple people stayed inside the building and counted the same ballots over and over and over again. And that's on video, by the way. That's not speculation, and I'm not just making that up. But they literally ran the same voting rolls through the counter multiple times in a row. They have the Democratic poll workers caught on camera doing so. This election was stolen. Everything that's going on right now with Joe Biden versus Donald Trump is the exact same thing that people claim could never happen in this country, that people were mad at Vladimir Putin for doing in Russia, that people were mad at Zelensky for doing in Ukraine. It's the same thing that's happening right here, right now. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. I wish you peace and wealth, my friends. We're going to take a further look at this tomorrow.